Nature has engineered almost anything you can imagine. Animals that survive being frozen solid, boiled alive, and flung into outer space. Fish wired with their own electricity. Lizards that literally shoot blood out of their eyes. Jellyfish that have technically cracked immortality. Octopuses that taste the world through their own arms. But there is one creature nature looked at and simply refused to build. So we built it ourselves. We call it a dragon. Picture a dragon right now. You're probably imagining the Western version, a colossal winged reptile exhaling fire. But travel the globe and look at the monsters dreamed up by people who never once made contact with each other. A serpent dragon coiling through ancient China, a feathered snake god worshipped across the Americas, a rainbow serpent slithering through Aboriginal myth in Australia, a fire-breathing lizard guarding castles in medieval Europe. The details shift, but underneath, every culture kept reaching for the exact same parts: the bulk of a giant reptile, the coil of a snake, and the raw menace of an apex predator. The same monster, reverse-engineered from scratch on continent after continent. Evolution had 4 billion years, and an entire planet as its lab. It got close to a dragon more than once. So why did it never finish the job? And stranger still, why did humans finish it for nature? That answer isn't about animals at all. It's about you.
Start with fire, because it sounds the most impossible. And ironically, it's the part nature got closest to cracking. Meet the Bombardier beetle. When threatened, it detonates a chemical reaction inside an armored chamber in its own abdomen, mixing hydrogen peroxide with a compound called hydroquinone. The reaction is so violent, it superheats the liquid to nearly 212 degrees Fahrenheit, the boiling point of water, and fires it out like a tiny cannon. It can even swivel its abdomen to aim, blasting that scalding spray up to 20 times in a row. That is the single closest thing to a flamethrower anywhere in the animal kingdom. And it still isn't fire. It's a boiling hot mist, not a flame. In the entire recorded history of life on Earth, no animal has ever evolved the ability to ignite anything. The iconic dragon feature of all is the one nature flatly vetoed. Now, the body. We actually named a real animal after the myth itself, the Komodo dragon, the largest living lizard, roughly 10 feet long, the length of a small car, armed with a venomous bite capable of dropping prey many times its own size. But the Komodo is a survivor, not the original. Its ancestors were far worse. Until roughly 50,000 years ago, Australia was ruled by a monitor lizard called Megalania, stretching anywhere from 18 to 23 feet, a venomous reptile longer than a car. The first humans who set foot on that continent very likely crossed paths with it. Not a dragon, but real, scaled, and big enough to pass for one in a campfire story.
Then there's flight. And there is a lizard alive right now that flies, sort of. It's called Draco, and it lives in the rainforests of Southeast Asia. Its wings didn't appear from nowhere. They're its own ribs, stretched outward and wrapped in skin like a folding fan. It leaps from a tree trunk, snaps that fan open, and glides up to 200 feet, 2/3 the length of a football field, without flapping a single muscle. Draco didn't grow new limbs, it hijacked bones it already had. Now rewind 68 million years to the final chapter of the dinosaurs. The sky belonged to Quetzalcoatlus, a flying reptile with a 36-foot wingspan, standing as tall as a giraffe when folded up on the ground, weighing close to 550 pounds, a living creature the size of a small aircraft that launched itself airborne by vaulting off its own arms like a pole vaulter, and then actually flew. Yes, a giraffe-sized reptile really did pole vault into the sky. So every piece already existed. Fire, size, wings, every fragment of a dragon has existed or still exists somewhere on Earth. Nature simply never let one creature inherit all of them at once. And that isn't bad luck. There are 3 hard physical reasons stacked on top of each other. The first one is hiding in plain sight, right there on the Welsh flag. A classic Western dragon has 4 legs and 2 wings, 6 limbs total. But every backbone animal alive, you, a bird, a snake, a whale, a tyrannosaurus, descends from the same 4-limbed fish that first crawled out of the ocean. 4 limbs is the starting kit, and nobody since has ever been issued a spare set. When a bird flies, it isn't growing extra arms. Its wings are its arms, repurposed. Bats did the same trade, so did every parasaur that ever lived. To grow wings, a backbone animal has to sacrifice its front legs and rebuild them from scratch. You get arms or you get wings. Nature has never handed out both at the same time. That's exactly why poor Draco had to scavenge spare ribs just to get airborne. A 4-legged, 2-winged dragon needs a body plan that has never once existed in 350 million years of life on land.
The second reason is the tyranny of scale. Double an animal's length, and it becomes roughly 8 times heavier, but its bones and muscles only get about 4 times stronger. Push that scaling far enough, and a creature's own body weight starts crushing it from the inside. Quetzalcoatlus was already pressed against the absolute physical ceiling for how large something can get and still lift off the ground. A house-sized winged dragon isn't just a bigger Quetzalcoatlus, it's a skeleton that shatters before it ever leaves the cliff edge. And the third reason loops right back to the fire. Flight is the single most metabolically punishing thing a body can do. It burns oxygen and fuel at a rate that already pushes a flying animal to its absolute limit. There's nothing left in that budget to also run a furnace in your chest. And evolution was never designing toward a dragon. It only tinkers blindly, one tiny accidental mutation at a time. No chain of those accidents ever stumbled into a winged, 6-limbed, self-igniting reptile. The dragon isn't blocked by one rule, it's blocked by all of them simultaneously. If a dragon is this thoroughly forbidden by both biology and physics, then why does it appear in nearly every culture on Earth? There are 2 competing theories. The first is bones in the ground. Long before anyone understood what a dinosaur even was, people were unearthing massive fossils and trying to explain them. A historian at Stanford named Adrian Mayer traced one case directly. Thousands of years ago, Scythian gold miners crossing the Gobi Desert kept digging up the skeletons of a beaked 4-legged creature we now call Protoceratops. With no concept of extinction, their minds reconstructed those bones into a guardian beast, and that became the legend of the griffin. It happened on the opposite side of the planet, too. In China, fossils dug from the earth and ground into medicine were called, quite literally, dragon bones. Humans kept finding impossible skeletons buried in the dirt and kept inventing monsters to explain them. The second theory is darker. It isn't about what was buried in the ground, it's about what's buried inside your own skull. Anthropologist David E. Jones noticed something strange about vervet monkeys. They have 3 separate, distinct alarm calls, one for ground predators like big cats, one for an eagle diving from above, and one specifically for snakes. Those 3 predators, cat, eagle, and snake, are the exact threats that hunted primates for millions upon millions of years. Jones's theory, the terror of all 3 got burned so deep into our ancestral brain that over evolutionary time they fused into one single composite image. Take the fangs and claws of the great cat, bolt on the wings and the diving strike of the eagle, wrap the entire thing in the long, coiling body of the snake. Put those 3 together, and you've just built a dragon without ever touching a fossil. This theory is hotly contested. You can't excavate an instinct, but it explains something the bones alone never could. Not just why we invented a monster, but why we kept inventing the exact same one, assembled from the exact same parts, on every continent by people who had never once spoken to each other. The reason nature never made a dragon is that the dragon was never an animal to begin with. Every single piece of it is real. The fire is a beetle's boiling spray. The size is a monitor lizard that once ruled Australia. The wings belong to real pterosaurs, and the fear underneath all of it is a memory older than our entire species. But the assembly, the final stitching together, never happened out in the wild. It happened in here. The dragon is the shape your ancestors' nightmares took when every predator that ever hunted them in the dark got fused into a single body. Nature never made a dragon. We did, out of everything that used to hunt us.